Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis, and we're here for another episode. And today I'm joined by James, Owen, and Kev. As you can tell by the title, the main talking point today is, of course, that story that's been surfacing. We've known for a while that Michael Edwards will be leaving or has left at the end of the season just gone. And we all know that he would eventually find a new job somewhere else and pass on his wisdom. To what degree, we will definitely discuss, but it looks like maybe that could be happening sooner than expected, with a reported story that Chelsea are quite keen. The new owners, Todd Bowley, referencing Liverpool and the job of Michael Edwards at a previous conference or something. So it looks like they're quite keen to try and get him as a part of their new project. So make sure that you do like the video, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. But first of all, James, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm too hot, but I'm good. Although it looks like it's starting to cool down and I might actually be able to get a night's sleep. So from that perspective, I'm positive. I'm in a positive frame, Louis, even with the Michael Edwards news.
And Owen, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, thanks. Final day of exams today, so school is officially done now. Move on to the next one. So yeah, buzzing with that, and yeah, looking forward to the stream tonight.
Yes, A levels for you next, isn't it now?
Indeed.
Out of the oven into the frying pan. And Kev, how are you doing?
All good, mate. All good. Just a bit hot. That's all. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm very good, thank you. As everyone has said, it looks like the very hot spell's just starting to pass and hopefully cooling down a little bit. So, fingers crossed for that. But yes, let's get straight into it. A few people have joined. Hello to everybody who's just getting involved in the live comments now. Alan says it's difficult to beat Chelsea as it is, even more so if Edwards joins them, knowing what he knows. Well, let's talk about that. James, I'm keen to get your opinion first, because obviously Michael Edwards has become kind of this cult legend at Liverpool because of, you know, what we understand his role to be, setting up infrastructure, head of recruitment. It's kind of his role. How big of a loss do you think it is to lose him, and how big of a punch could it be to kind of lose him to a rival?
Right, so there's a couple of ways that you can think about it. You can think, how have Liverpool approached this situation? With a player, you know, because burnout's a real thing. Pressure, burnout, stress, everything that goes with it. Now, Michael Edwards, by all things, has got to a point where he says, I want to break from it all, I want to take a step away. Similar to what Jurgen Klopp did. Now, the important part is, what does the club do to ensure that it's not a drop-off? You know, how do they break? And that's where Julian Ward comes in, and they talked about how they've set up the infrastructure, the handover, they've been working on it together. So, if anything, it looks like it's an amicable parting from a Liverpool perspective. He's made sure that we're prepped, he's made sure that we're ready, he's made sure that there's continuation, potentially even development. You know, Julian Ward might want to do different things that Michael Edwards didn't. So I think from a overall perspective, if you were to look at it from a business perspective, removing the football from it, he has done it in the most appropriate, professional and correct way. Now, there's the emotion around football and our tricks of the trade and everything like that, but I can't help feeling that one man does not hold the tricks. There's everyone that comes together as a whole. So, yes, he'll know things that others don't, but overall, I think it's fine. I'm not overly worried.
Owen, I feel like you have a slightly different take on that.
No, I feel like he has kind of betrayed the club in a way by going to a rival such as Chelsea. Like, for me as a Liverpool fan, Chelsea is the most hated team for me. And by going there, I don't care whether you're a player, coach, whoever, manager, going to that club, you're a traitor. And yeah, I think the relationship he seemed to have with Jurgen Klopp and everyone at the club, like brothers, he's been phenomenal for us over the last 6 years. And yeah, we've already brought in a replacement, to be fair, in Julian Ward, and he's already had a great start. So I think only time will really tell on this one. But I'm still not fully convinced that he will join Chelsea. I still think, I still have hope that he will hold out or reject them. So fingers crossed that he doesn't go to that place.
And Kev, your first take on this?
For me, I tend to agree with James. Slightly disagree with Owen in what he with the trades of it. I think it was a bit too harsh on him, but I think he's done a great job. He's the Eric Sawyer to Shankly was to Shankly. He was the Peter Robinson of the 80s that we needed, and he's come in and he's actually done a very good job. And don't get me wrong, he started off disappointingly terrible. Do you know what I mean? Was headhunted by Kamoli in 2011, comes in, and then his tensions with Rodgers, so it didn't start well, but he's evolved, and he's the silent player, he's the silent man. He's a key cog. He's similar. I hold him with Klopp as one of the key cogs he needs, like Mona Nemeth and Andreas Kohlmeier for the nutritionist and the fitness coach. Without all three, it doesn't work. So I hold him in high esteem for what he's done, especially with with what he's done with buying players, and especially what he's done in bringing money in as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously one of those people who respects what he's done and is quick to heap praise and everything that he's done. But James, this is surely part of this is it's almost like, not don't meet your heroes, but no one's there, as Kevin you were saying, there is no one man who is the magic formula. I mean, I know we all like to think that Jurgen Klopp is that magic miracle worker, which maybe he is the exception to the rule, but he's come in, he's put that infrastructure in place, and that's got to be a massive part of it, isn't it? That he's handing over to somebody else who's obviously been trained and developed in his way of thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, Jurgen Klopp, he is the central point of this. He is the personality, he's the leader, he is the one that people want to follow. His praise, his thing is what you're looking for. But we have to remember, this isn't the first time Jurgen Klopp has lost someone very close to him. Look at Zeljko Buvac, the brain. His friend of 20, 30 years, who he's worked everything through. And if we were to talk about this when Liverpool were first going through, we'd be talking about it in a similar esteem as in terms of he is an essential part of the Klopp system. He is perfect for what they do. But you have to give credit to the entire team. They moved Pep Linders up. He was on a training path with them when he first joined. Julian Ward's the same. So it's evolution, because you have to remember, when you're working at a club like Liverpool, the pressure is relentless. It's non-stop. And for these people, it's not their club, it's a job. And they might care very passionately about it, as we can see a lot of people do. But at the same time, if you were to live under pressure every single day for a period of 10, you're going to burn out at some point, and taking a step away is sometimes a good thing.
Oh, the
ice
cream, please.
Yeah, get us a cornetto or something, please. Thank you to everybody who's joining the stream and getting involved. Good to see you. Make sure you are getting your opinions in the live chat as well. Owen, I know your opinion on him potentially moving to Chelsea, but in terms of how much of a loss do you think he would be? What's your take on that?
Oh, it's massive, absolutely humongous. Like, I see it like in terms of, it's like building a mansion, okay? Michael Edwards, Klopp, they were kind of the architects. They were the designers of the project. And then kind of the players kind of made it happen. They were the construction workers working every day to build it. I think that would be the only way I could really describe it. And Michael Edwards, I think people give him loads of credit, and he gets the credit he deserves, which is fantastic. And I really do think he is key, because without kind of, we talk about FSG a lot, and we know that kind of they are kind of sell to buy a lot. So without kind of that profit that he's made off sales and the way he's worked smart in order to get these deals done, then yeah, success wouldn't have been anywhere possible without him. So yeah.
But like, in terms of the loss and not having him around, do you think that's going to have a detrimental effect, or do you think there's enough in place to sort of carry it on?
No, I think he's built that mansion now. He's built that thing in place where it's kind of easy for someone else to come in and kind of take control now. Even though I know it's happened to other big teams, people have left, like United with Fergie and other teams like that. But it's look, I think Michael Edwards, he's going to be an absolute hero in Liverpool history. But look, Julian Ward is trained. He's worked with him. He's looks like he's got all the qualifications necessary. So I think, yeah, we should trust in him and see how that goes going forward.
I mean, Kev, that infrastructure that he's helped to build is so important, and it's what separates us from, clubs like Man United, who for the last few years have been sort of run quite poorly. I think Michael Edwards was, their director of football, wasn't he, or in charge of most of that stuff, and it's never felt like there's much of a structure in place. It's always the most obvious signings you can think of, the big money moves, who's going to bring in like the most shirt sales and the most revenue, whereas we've maybe not from Michael Edwards' choice, maybe from what's been given to him from above, but we've had to be a little bit more clever, and maybe that's almost worked to our advantage a little bit. Do you think could we almost backhandedly give FSG compliments for that, for making us have to be a bit smarter with our money?
To be honest, we always had to, because we didn't have the financial makeup of the likes of a Roman Abramovich team or a Man City, or the commercial value of what Man United bring in. So it's hard for other clubs. Us is the model that all other clubs should be looking at, because if you get it right, it works. So it's ensuring that you have people in the recruitment team. That recruitment team, by the way, fell out with Rodgers big time. Do you know what I mean? And it took a while for Rodgers didn't like it. He couldn't work under that. Klopp coming in was perfect because he's dealt with that kind of system up at Dortmund. So when he comes in, he knows what it's about. With FSG, they bring in other factors as well. They bring the money ball factor in as well. They want to try and incorporate that. You then also have certain things that the NFL do, such as what the Patriots do, dossiers on players, not on the actual physical take of the person, but the mental makeup of them as well. So if you add all that in with the key players that Michael Edwards is ahead of, and you've got Julian Ward part of that system already, it's easy then to pick out these little gems. Now everyone thinks it's going to come to an end at some point, but every year they keep churning out and bringing these players through, and even if they don't work, they follow the Chelsea model as well of selling players on for high profit as well. So the one thing that you miss out with Michael Edwards is he's always looking at different ways at how Chelsea were marketing, how they were able to bring in the money, and he followed that Marina Galachea's view of selling players, putting them out on loan and bringing in the money. He's unbelievable. To take over 40 million off Bournemouth alone for 4 players is just unbelievable.
I mean, that's a crime, isn't it? He should be on charges for that.
But to name the figures: Jordan Ive 15 million, Brad Smith 6 million, Solanke over 19 million, and then add in a Harry Wilson on loan for 2.43 million. It's unbelievable that a team of Bournemouth have actually paid that much money, but that's what he does. You look at the Coutinho deal as well. Saying that Barcelona can't buy a Liverpool player for 5 years, and if they do, there'll be a £10 million stake on top of what they want to pay, or 100 million. It's ridiculous. He's had to fashion a way of being aggressive in the market, but also on the same kind of playing field as the likes of Chelsea and Man City for me.
Yeah, James, you weren't too sure about what I said earlier.
No, and I mean, I've just been thinking about what Kev said, and I think part of what we're talking about here is he's done his job, in the sense of Liverpool were a club who brought a player through to top 20 in the world class level, and a big club stole them every time, without fail. Now we're at a stage where we have 4 or 5 world-class players, and yes, we've just lost Mane, and that was all amicable, and we got the best out of him. But he's done his job, as in nobody thinks they could just knock on our door and take our best player, because it'll kick up, oh, my back, and all that crap. it is now. I want to play for Liverpool. You know, Mane's situation is I've won everything and I want to do something else. As bonkers as that seems, and you can see that in the press. So he's done his job. He's made us the final destination. Julian Ward's job now is to find these young players like Darwin Núñez, like Fabio Carvalho, like I've forgotten his name, Ramsey, and say, come here, we will make this your career and we will be your final destination. Not final destination where everyone dies, final destination where you win lots of trophies. So, I think he's done his job. And now it's Julian Ward is the custodian of that to make sure that we stay in that position.
Alan says, if Edwards can give Chelsea an extra 5% in whatever he does, we will have to up our game even more. I mean, so talking about instead of not just him leaving us, but potentially, I mean, he said he wants a year off. So, and there's nothing official from his end that he's in talks with them. This is more or less speculation. But let's say he does go there this season, Owen.
Don't boil my blood. Don't even go there.
How much of a threat? How much of a threat would that be? You know,
None,
because they're already a club that spend big and aren't afraid to. And,
they're not.
Not anymore.
They are a different club now.
No,
Yeah.
He's gone.
They're getting new owners. We don't know what their intentions are. I don't know how much they're worth. If anyone knows that, but
well, there's just spent.
If you're going to say billion, then
yeah, only that.
Maybe their changing won't. Maybe their spending won't change too much then. But you know, how quickly and how much of a threat could that turn Chelsea into? Because you know they've obviously Lukaku was a bit of a flop of a signing. They're losing a lot of centre backs. It looks like there's a bit of a rebuild on the agenda again. How much of a threat could they be up with Edwards at the helm of recruitment?
I think it'll be really interesting to see how it goes because I think Edwards never has that sort of money to just kind of waste, if you know what I mean. And I still think, obviously, Abramovich is gone now, but I still think Chelsea will have money. They always have money over the last 20 years, no matter what. So I still think there'll be money there to burn. And yeah, it will kind of be not the end of the world if they kind of fail to bring in a successful player like we've seen before. But even if Edwards can get money for Kepa, that's a success in my eyes because they've got a lot of players, Lukaku as well. So there's a lot of players there that they need to kind of sort out and deal with their future. So it's by no means an easy job. But I think in a way that kind of makes it more suitable for Edwards rather than just walking into a finished project. He's walking into something that he can build like he did with Liverpool when he came in. I know 2011 he joined, but 2016 he became the sporting director right after Klopp came in. So Tuchel's been there for a while, but new ownership. I think, yeah, it was really exciting for Chelsea fans if Edwards goes there for sure.
I mean, it's not just Chelsea sniffing around, apparently, Kev. You know, the likes being thrown out. I mean, PSG's
Newcastle,
been thrown
PSG.
in, but I'm sure they've just hired somebody for a similar role. But yeah, you know, Real Madrid, Newcastle, Man United as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we're obviously doing something right, and it's obviously something that a lot of clubs feel that they lack, and they need to get a bit of that on their side.
it is, and it's hard not to appreciate from the outside of what the Liverpool model's done. You look at it already, there's unity from top to bottom. Whether fans are still fickle with FSG, which we know we are, there's a certain amount, you'll always have that. But on the whole, everyone's singing from the same hymn sheets. And to have someone in place like Michael Edwards who can steer a boat, I think with Chelsea it would be very different if he was under Abramovich, because then he's got no money, maximum amount of money, and can do what he can do in producing gems. It would be devastating. Now I think it's a different mindset at Chelsea. I think him, and I also think Marina Gonzalez as well. Those two can pick any club they want to go to because of the jobs that they've done in their previous roles. That's how highly everyone likes them. That's what everyone wants, the Liverpool model. And what a better way to do it by bringing in the person who instigated it all.
I mean,
yeah, go on, James.
Louis, I'd say this, right? There's a famous management phrase, isn't there, which is culture eats strategy for breakfast. Now, Michael Edwards is strategy. That's his job. And for me, if he went to Newcastle, that would be more scary than if he went to Chelsea. Because the culture of Newcastle at this moment is that of rebirth, excitement, passion, drive. It's all set for a really clever sporting director to put a strategy in place when everyone's on a positive. Chelsea, however, not in a positive, necessarily positive. I don't think Tuchel's the most, culturally clingable person. I don't think everyone wants to run through a brick wall for him. I think Eddie Howe's building that, oddly.
I think his mask. I feel like his mask is slipping as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
he's a bit of a strange guy.
Howe is tactically weak at times. Culturally, he's very good. So I think Newcastle have the culture. Chelsea are about to go through a period of change. Now, for me, the best job for Edwards would be Newcastle, but that is the last place. I would rather he goes to Chelsea than Newcastle, because I think Chelsea fans are going to implode if they don't spend money. This is that. The best thing they could do is not sign Edwards, is get rid of Lukaku, which is what they've done. That is the best thing Chelsea could do, because he's a poison pill. Didn't want to be there. Now, that's where I'm worried about Edwards. If he goes to Newcastle, I think they will accelerate their aggression into the top four.
Well, that's what I was going to come to you about, because you said obviously Edwards isn't part of the culture side of things. It's the recruitment, it's the numbers, it's bringing in people. But for owners of clubs, it's not only being able to spot hidden gems maybe, but similar to what Kev brought up, being able to sell players for such amazing prices who perhaps were on the periphery, perhaps weren't getting much game time. I mean, Owen, that's something that especially American owners like at Man United, they'd bloody love, wouldn't they, to save themselves some money and earn some on the side?
Yeah, they definitely would. I don't really see why United just don't go all out for him, to be honest with you. You see what they had with Woodward over the last 10 years now. It's been absolutely shocking how they haven't gotten rid of him. It's
Woodward's gone, hasn't he?
Already, yeah. But
just now.
Yeah. But how they haven't gotten rid of him already, it's honestly a mystery. I have no absolute idea why, after manager, he's been stuck with, and their next appointment needs to be spot on. And I haven't really heard anyone kind of mentioning with United in that aspect. So it does kind of leave me a little bit worried there. But I want to ask you guys a question actually about Edwards. And do you think that, I don't know, something deep inside of me says that Edwards like kind of smelt the smoke and was like, I'm out of here. Kind of thought, due to FSG and kind of the wage structure that's in place and people leaving, like Salah's going to be off probably next season, Mane's gone already. Do you guys think that may be the reason why Edwards decided to leave?
I think 11 years is a long time to be at one job. I don't believe he's innately a Liverpool fan. I might be wrong on that one, but for him, although it's on the world stage, it is just another job. And what James said, burnout is real, and maybe working under a tighter budget, maybe that made his job harder. I don't know. But I feel like that sort of puts us into the realm of like quite wild speculation. I don't know, Kev or James.
For me, it's easy to do that because he's got a very, very low profile for someone so high up with such a big place to be at a club and a stature at the club. He's very relevant. You can't find nothing on him. He's not on social media anyway. The only Michael Edwards you can find are artists and American football players. So he keeps it to himself. He's very humble. So it'll all be Chinese whispers. And what you're saying, Owen, there'll be many like that who will be asking that same question. But I agree with what James said at the very start and what Louis has just alluded to. 11 years at one club. It's just I can imagine the burnout he's had. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I don't think it is that. I think it's more what the lads alluded to earlier.
James, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just from personally, I was director of a business for 7 years. a couple of businesses, and after that time, almost feel stagnant because your brain it's not a 9 to 5. You know, it's a 9 to 9 job. You're in it constantly, and especially with transfers, it's constant. You know, you're constantly negotiating little annoying bits and pieces. I think doing that for such a long period of time, sometimes you need to come away and reflect to be the best that you can be, and you can't reflect in post. So I only learned some of my mistakes when I left after 3 months of taking a break and looking at it. So if Michael Edwards truly wants to be the best that has ever been in the game, a period of reflection is key. And that's what I think he's doing. Because I actually think he wants to be seen as the greatest, but not seen, if that makes it. He doesn't want to be this big. He just wants to be known in the football world as this is how it goes. So, yeah that's my answer to you, Owen. Although I agree, if Chelsea want to sign me, I would be bang up for that because I would get a big wages, Anthony.
Well, thank you to people who are watching. Make sure you do like this video if you're enjoying the discussion so far, and please do subscribe to the channel as well. We've hit 5K a few weeks ago, and now we're hot on the trails of 6,000 subscribers. So please do keep on pressing it. Well, the road to 10K before 2023, hopefully. Oh, well, if we do, I'll get a tattoo of the LFC transfer room somewhere on my body. That is a deal. That is a deal we have in place. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And I'll leave my job as well. I had to save this comment because it was kind of what Owen alluded to at the very start as well. And Recency Bias Radio has said if he goes to Chelsea, Edwards is a snake. I mean, James, I'll stick with you on this one because obviously, as football men, football people supporting a football club with football players and football managers, loyalty gets thrown around a lot, and we demand loyalty from players. Like that's a big part of the whole Salah debate. Obviously, managers have come and gone. Coutinho, we wish he'd shown more loyalty. We talk about showing loyalty to the club as fans, which obviously we do all 24/7. Does it extend to staff members who aren't part of the immediate footballing part of the game?
You see, I don't think he can ever be classified as a snake unless he went to United. Then I have real problems. And the reason for that is he hasn't done it snide. He's not, I've got a bad back. He's not done any of this crap to get himself out of the club. He has done it in a professional, open, structured way, saying, this is my plan. I want to work with you on an exit plan. Then I'm going to take a break. Now, I'd be a bit disappointed if he jumped straight into a job. Yes. But is he a snake? No, because he's been open and professional. And this is what you want from players. He's modeling behavior we would want to see from players. I don't want to be here. I want to move on, but I'm still going to do my job and I'm still going to make sure you're covered. A bit like how Mane's done it. Professional. Not, I'm injured, not anything like that. The way he has left is perfect. I mean, it's shit, but it's perfect professionalism. So I don't think anyone can necessarily be a snake unless they've gone back on their word. And he's never said anything about not working for another club. So I would rather he go Chelsea than Newcastle. I would rather he takes a year off.
Yeah. I mean, Owen, I'll come back to you because obviously this is your opinion, but surely you're only considering him a snake because he was very good at what he did. I mean, if it was the tea lady, she decided to.
She cannot go anywhere.
She decided to move down to London. But if it was some complete nobody in the back room who we didn't know about, it wouldn't bother you as much. Explain to me a bit more your reasoning.
Yeah, if Carol and Caroline went on a free transfer, it would be devastating for the club. Like,
10 million minimum. 10 mil minimum for each of them. And they come as a package deal.
Salon clause as well. But yeah, going back to Michael Edwards, I think, just the fact he's gone into a new job straight away, and the fact he has been so good for us, And it's like any player. Do you count Torres when he went from Liverpool to Chelsea as a snake? In my eyes, I do count him as a snake for that.
Yeah,
I
that
know.
was what he did, though, wasn't it? He
Sorry?
did the whole snidey things. He didn't just. It wasn't professional. Like, is Mane a snake?
No.
But Bayern have more chance of beating us in something than Chelsea probably do next season. Chelsea are not going to be. Do you get what I mean?
I think Chelsea will be up there next season.
Yeah.
What, for the title.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think.
Who have they signed anybody yet?
No.
They've got a lot of rebuilding to do. They weren't up there now, and they're only losing players at the minute. So
Lost
Yeah,
the
they've
best
already
centre
got a
back in
great
Rudiger
squad,
for me.
They've been linked to Kunde as well. Kimpembe's been linked with them.
we've been linked to bloody everybody.
Yeah,
but we're not
true.
we're not signing them.
I think we should probably judge it once the transfer window's ended, and then that would probably be a fair reflection.
Yeah, definitely. What were you going to say, Kev?
No. Just basically that. For me, I don't see Chelsea as much of a threat next season. I think it's they're in transition, a big transition. You look how many centre halves that are going. They're losing Christiansen as well as the Bekelt is going. So there's a lot of rebuild that needs to go there. De Ligt, I turn faster and can run faster than him. He hasn't hit the ground running at Juventus for me. So paying 60 odd mil, he's got 103 release clause and 2 years left on his deal. So there's more money going out the window. So I don't see them. If I was I would sooner Edwards went to a foreign club out of the Premier League, somewhere like Roma or somewhere in Italy. A team that isn't going to cause us much of an issue. If he goes to PSG, if Mbappe allows him to go there, then it could end in tears. But somewhere like Ajax would do me. Do you know what I mean? Or somewhere in Holland.
He's bigger than Ajax. Isn't he based in London as well? Because Liverpool.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's bigger than Ajax. You can't do that.
He is. He is huge, but I don't want to go into a big club.
I thought he was going Real Madrid.
Perfectly honest.
That was all the rumours, wasn't it? When he handed his notice in, it was all Real Madrid were doing everything to get him. And I think if Real Madrid didn't get him, I think he's serious about this break. I think it's just media hype, a lot of it.
But doesn't that Fiorentina Perez, isn't he quite involved with the transfers? I feel like he likes to have control over that. I don't know whether he'd want to pass all of that on.
Because they're voted in every 4 years, aren't they? So it's down to him to bring the players in. So it's he'll have a big say as to who comes in and who doesn't. But there will be a sporting director there who will be just a yes man to Perez.
Yes, Mr. Perez.
I mean, Michael Edwards previously, I can't remember how long ago this was, but he said, I am planning to take a year off. It will take an offer to blow the doors off, or something like that was his quote, for me to not stick by that. What would that look like, James? Is it just if a massive club came in for him? Do you think a Chelsea could tempt him into it? Would it take a massive transfer kitty or just a good setup? I don't know. And in your honest opinion, do you think he would come out of his year gap early?
Yeah. So think about Klopp. It would take something amazing for me to stop early. And bang, Liverpool came. And it all felt right. Currently, there are two opportunities, I think, if I was a sporting director, I'd be really interested in getting involved in. And one's potentially Chelsea with, the new owners and everything like that, and looking at how the infrastructure is coming together and how I could really develop a club and sort of cement what I do. And the other's Newcastle. Because Newcastle are going to flip into a new generation. And this, again, someone can come in, build it and stuff like that. Going to PSG is pointless. You're just playing Football Manager with an unlimited budget, if Mr. Mbappe says so. So I think those two jobs, unfortunately, they're at a period where I think they need him now. And they might not come around again for a while,
Mm.
but yeah, they really are opportunities. If you were a sporting director, that'd blow the doors off and get you interested. I think. Can't think of anything else, any other clubs that are in that sort of period where it get you excited.
I think we do need to talk about money as well, because we forget. I'm sure he's earning a decent wage, but he's not a footballer. You know, he's not on 100. I wouldn't have thought he'd be on 100k a week.
No.
So yeah. Ultimately, he's 40 years old. I don't know if he has a family or not. He might want to be thinking,
Yeah,
get
married, 2 kids.
Yeah. So yeah, get the best offer while he can. So I don't think you can really blame him for that. To be fair,
A couple of million years still.
is it? Oh, okay. That's still quite a lot.
You know,
Plus bonuses,
I
there's no doubt. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Sell-on clock. Do you remember Harry Redknapp used to get percentage of the sell-on fee for players and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Players always moving dealing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got that, but because I think they stopped all that. But I think he set us up fine. Go on, Louis.
As of sorry, I was just Googling something whilst you were talking. As of 2015, Michael Edwards, so this is 7 years ago, was earning £300,000 a year. So I wonder what that turned into. But that's
really
crazy, isn't it? He's like signing people who earn half of that in a week, isn't it? That's just that's just bonkers.
Still
Don't
running
get
away.
me wrong, though. You know, for all the good that he's done, don't forget he nearly cocked up the Van Dijk deal by meeting him in Blackpool. And we had to release that statement, and then Peter Moore comes in and has to go down and with the white flag and try and build bridges at Southampton. Do you know what I mean? So it hasn't always gone to plan. He fell up massively with Rodgers, as I said. He brought in Aspas. I can't forgive him for that actual corner. I can't. I'd have to baseball his legs for that, because baseball bat them, because that was sickening. Benteke, he was part of that deal. Markovic, we forget about Markovic as well. Markovic came with this great big potential from Benfica and didn't actually hit the ground running or do anything. So, as well as all the good, there have been a few on the downside, and some near, especially with the Van Dijk deal, because a lot of Liverpool fans at the time were kicking off because we had to release that statement. So, but again, he gets it over the line, and we pay over the odds initially, but now it looks like as though we ripped Southampton off. So, it hasn't gone. It hasn't gone plain sailing all the way through. It makes sound like that, and and the stats that he's got, but that's because of everything else that he's done. He's brought £270 million of profit in to the club, 130 if you take off the Coutinho deal. Do you know what I mean? So getting $8 million for Kevin Stewart from Hull, that's what the man can do. He's a magician when it comes to selling players on.
We swapped
as well. Sold him for 32.5 million. Man, we bought him for 30, so he made a profit on Benteke, even though he's absolutely terrible. It's like
Danny Ward bought him. Danny Ward 100,000 in, sells him to Leicester for 12.5. How?
Yeah. Is he even on their bench anymore?
Yeah, he's number 2, isn't he? He played the last game of the season. I don't mind Danny Ward. I quite liked him, but I think Kelleher's better. But I think he was trying to become number 1, because I think Ward thought that Schmeichel was going to get sold to a big club, and Schmeichel ended up staying. But he's done his job, isn't it? No one comes on our door and picks our best player. The big deals, the big ones, have pretty much worked. I think we're only really still unsure about Keita because of his fitness. I think everyone else in the Klopp era has been unbelievably good.
Ben Davis.
Unbelievable. He came in.
Has anyone seen him?
It's like Make-A-Wish, isn't it? He made a dream come true.
Still in Klopp's basement.
And those pictures that his family have of him have disappeared forever.
Kabak as well. Getting a release clause of 18 million for him and not buying him and letting him go. You know what I mean? It's he's
that was
he's done things when he has. You know what I mean? it's he has done, as what James has alluded to. He has done his job. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he's there to do. But as I said at the start, he's an important integral cog in Klopp's machine, and that includes the nutritionist and it includes the fitness coach as well. Because without all three, we don't achieve or accomplish half as much as what we have done.
Absolutely. I think we'll wrap it up there. I think this has been a good, strong discussion and lots of thoughts and opinions in the live chat as well. Thank you to everybody who has been tuning in throughout, on and off, or just joining. Sorry that we're having to cut you off, but thank you all the same. Make sure that you do leave a like on this video. It really does go a long way to helping us out. And please do subscribe to the channel as well. For our Discord, if you fancy becoming a member and supporting the channel further, all of that is in the video description as well. So go and check that out. Thank you, James. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Kev, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody in the live chat and everybody who's just watching, because there's lots of you who just sit and watch and don't say anything, and we don't get the chance to. We don't get the chance to appreciate you. But as James said, do like the video, and then we'll know that you're there and actually paying attention. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and have a lovely Thursday evening.